Hello guys, this is Terry from Geeky Gaming TV, and I'm coming back at you with Yokai Watch ShadowSide Episode 34 Review, aka Yokai Dake no Yokai Tantei Dan, or the Yokai Only Yokai Detective Team. This episode, I'm gonna be up front, all Yokai Watch episodes are a little bit eerie, a little bit strange to a certain degree, but this took that strange and just transitioned it a little bit further over to the weird side. But in a positive note, it's like good weird. The episode basically starts off with Natsume and Keisuke basically just walking down the street, wondering how the other yokai are doing. We get a update or some cameos between yokai we've seen before, like Zudomaru, Pakkun, Ikarin, Hon Maguro, Taisho, and while this is all going on, while they're basically commuting to go do something fun or really look into something, the yokai back at the Yokai Detective Agency HQ, mainly Michi and Komajiro, begin to argue over who is senpai, and Michi is full-heartedly saying he is senpai because he joined the Yokai Detective team first, and he's pushing that notion, and Komajiro keeps arguing that he and Koma-san were technically the first a very long time ago, and that's mainly because they're at the shrine where Akinori's family practices as priest and omyoji to a certain degree. While this is all basically going on, G10 and Whisper are kind of just sitting there in the middle. One is antagonizing while the other is kind of just checking the scenario out, and Whisper ends up not being able to take it, and Whisper implies that they should just try to solve one of the strange incidences that's going on, and the first person to do that would be Senpai. Little do they know, I am actually Senpai, but that is beside the note here for this episode review. Basically, they went onto the website that Akinori always uses, that particular forum, and they read about Nita Son, which is a post that has recently been going on about people who have been riding their bikes and they're suddenly startled when someone jumps out from around the corner with a overly wide grin that makes their smile look creepy. So, to move a little bit further on with the strangeness of this particular episode, they decide to go see two human little boys who are completely okay with yokai being yokai to a certain degree. Our wonderful Michi dresses up in Natsume cosplay and freaks them out. And Whisper also freaks them out. But Junior came to the rescue. Junior is the real MVP of this episode, other than Michi to a certain degree. Basically, Junior, also earlier in the episode, gave a choco bar to Fudomio Boy. And boy did he love the choco bar. G10 has done something really bad by introducing junk food to Fudomio. That boyish figure he has is going to be gone like that. But to get back to the scene we're focusing on, like the interview to see what else is going on about the Nita-san, Junior basically transforms into his human form and talks to the boys, basically getting the down low that they were on their bikes, or that the boy was on his bike whenever it happened. So we get a screen transition, and Komajiro is dressed up as a human, and he has a bike to ride. Michi tries to ride Charlie, but Charlie said Michi is too heavy, too omoi. So Michi was not chosen to be Charlie's rider. It instead went to our boy Junior. So their goal at this point was to ride around the neighborhood to try to trigger this yokai to come out of hiding. But while they were gathering information, or they talked to Jibanyan, they talked to Professor, just to see if they knew anything about it. Jibanyan was too busy stopping trucks by trying to punch them. Professor was doing Professor stuff to a certain degree. He was more or less just kind of there. His only real purpose in the episode was to say, I don't really know much about the situation. But get back to the bike riding scene of the situation. Basically, they rode around the neighborhood. Komajiro and Koma-san ran into a girl who had a bad experience with Nita. Nita-san, basically, she saw it, she screamed, and they noticed her scream. So they went to see what was going on, and upon investigation, she said that it was Nita-san, and she pointed towards like an alleyway, and then there was Michi, still looking strange as ever in that Natsume cosplay, causing the little girl to faint. Their only lead faints. So, as this is going on, the group is actually back together, and of course, the keep with the P trend of the episode, Koma-san decides to pee on a sign of a mascot character. I believe it's Unzen Boy, or Security Boy, or Safety Boy, depending upon the translation. I guess it's a play on words of Unzen Bull, which is a hard hat because he's wearing a hard hat. So, with that said, the Unzen Boy becomes a ShadowSide abomination, which I would have become too if a yokai peed on me. I think we all would have. So, that technically didn't make him a yokai. It just kind of angered him and caused him to go to his ShadowSide form, Nita-san, which is a play on words for widely grinning. And the san was added because it's a proper honorific for people who are at a higher or equal social standing as you. Though many of you already know the purpose of san in this situation, I still wanted to say it just in case we had someone that was new to the whole concept of it. And they actually started to fight. And the fight was kind of weird. The safety sign that Nita-san was spinning and using caused different effects, like broken pieces of rubble to fall, a steamroller to fall, bears and sharks and other things. And Nita-san actually was preparing to aim lightning at our dearest little Komajiro. But Michi saves him, and Komajiro still punches him in the eye, because apparently this is a new running gag that is just kind of going to be a thing for a while. But Fudomio Boy shows up and slashes him. Well, slashes the steamroller, breaking through it, because after electrocuting Michi, Nita-san throws that steamroller I referenced earlier at him, and Komajiro Fudomio Boy slashes it in half. Fudomio Boy asks his junior senpai for some more choco bars, but Junior said he didn't have any, but that Fudomio Boy could have some chips instead. The chips were hot and spicy, and Fudomio Boy had been introduced to another form of junk food. So Fudomio Boy just kind of, I won't say destroys, but easily defeats Nita-san, who becomes Unzen Boya. And the Unzen refers to safety or security. So that just kind of fits the play on words there. And basically the role of this situation of the Unzen Boy was to basically say this is to be safe. It was basically a mascot that's like, hey, check your brakes, check your vehicle, check your bike, to avoid having accidents. And eventually the sign that Unzen Boya was connected to fell down, and a bike ran it over, causing him to become Nita-san. And Nita-san is a weird design for a yokai. In a general sense, it's kind of somewhere in the middle of the norm for yokai design, but it's still a little, I won't say weird, I'm gonna say a little bit more inclined with eerie. And I feel like Fudomio Boy is at such a high tier of power that even if Jibanyan fought Nita-san, it would be kind of a close match. Because Nita-san actually has a lot of different attacks at his disposal if you look at all of the stuff he was able to create with his sign. And basically our crew befriends him. Befriends Unzen Boya. And Unzen Boya and Kamen Rider Cherry, aka Michi, stop a kid whose bike's brakes were not really working appropriately. So the boy took his bike home by walking it. And basically we transition back to our Yokai Detective Agency HQ, and Natsume, Keisuke, Akinori, and Toma return. They've never met Unzen Boya / Nita-san because we don't see them together in this entire episode, so potentially Unzen Boya might be used in the future. Like, I won't say the near future, but down the line we could see him eventually show up again. I don't know how likely that is. But before we close the episode, I want to bring up a similarity that I've kind of realized. I've been watching Dragon Ball Z in general, like different episodes from different arcs. Fudomio Boy and Fudomio really remind me of Kid Buu and Buu in general, just because of their kind of different overarching behaviors, there are some small similarities, which makes it rather interesting in the long run. That was just an observation I saw. It is nice to have Kamen Rider Cherry back as a reference for the series. But that's been it for the episode. I feel like this is more of a transitional episode in the grand scheme of things, and that the progress obtained by our yokai-only Yokai Detective Agency will go unnoticed for the most part. But other than that, it was a relatively good episode. I would rate it probably an 8. But that's been it for this episode review. I hope you guys have a wonderful, amazing rest of your morning, afternoon, and or evening. And I do apologize for this being a tiny bit late, but thank you guys so much for watching it. Bye for now. See you in the next episode.